Hello everybody and welcome to Hashtag Shout Season 3 Episode 1 with your hosts Thelonewalker1
Hello.
and SteveJones313. We are back after a break. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Season 2 ended and now Season 3 begins. And we are here once again to talk about the things which matter to us. Things that are in the news, things which are on our minds, and things we just find on Tumblr which we think are pretty cool. However, today we'll be talking about some important things such as net neutrality, talking about some not so important things like Justin Bieber's career, and so on and so forth. And Adam is munching on some delicious pancakes, aren't you not? What kind of pancakes are there anyway?
White chocolate.
White chocolate pancakes.
Delish.
Anyway, the first thing we're going to cover today, and this is something I think, I really know that this hasn't had more publicity, so I'm going to enjoy the chance to bring some notice to it. And it's known as net neutrality. And there has been a petition going around, and you may have seen the petition floating around and simply glanced over it without realising just how important it is that the White House looks at it. Now, if you haven't heard the term net neutrality before, or you just haven't quite understood what it is, it's basically the principle that internet service providers should be enabling access to all content and applications, regardless of the source, and without favouring or blocking particular products or websites. Put simply, an internet service provider cannot show bias in the form of blocking or favoritism towards any websites.
Correct.
So, what's the concern? Well, on January 14th, 2000, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit that struck down the Federal Communications Commission's Open Internet Rules, commonly known as net neutrality, because internet service providers are not classified as common carriers. This means that internet service providers can charge companies for access to their users.
And also, I believe, means that they are part of the immune. And when the zombie apocalypse actually hits, they will be running around in a group of 4 or 5 players, defeating boomers and tanks.
But, for example, internet service providers can essentially kill other websites and companies
And zombies.
by charging them more than they could afford or simply just blocking them. Also, internet service providers are now free to demand users, whether they're big companies like Google or Netflix or individuals like you and me, to pay a premium for fast delivery of web pages, video, and other content. Those who opt for cheaper speeds can see their traffic capped at slower speeds or interrupted to make way for the big spenders.
Which is bollocks when you think about it.
This would be a terrible thing for all of us. Therefore, it is essential that net neutrality be restored or that ISPs be classified as common carriers. Now, at the time that I signed the petition, it reached 78,106 signatures. If we visit the petition now, I can tell you it has 78,604 signatures. So it's gaining speed. It still needs to be the 21,396 signatures, and we're getting them at roughly 281 signatures per hour.
Yeah.
So we are in line to hit the target, which is 100,000 signatures for the petition by February 14th, 2014.
Wonderfulness.
So we strongly urge people to go ahead, sign the petition, and help try to get net neutrality. Because if anybody doesn't know how these petitions work, and these are petitions that are posted on We the People, petitions.whitehouse.gov. When a petition reaches 100,000 signatures, the White House must respond to the petition.
Mm-hmm.
It is constitutionally obligated to respond to any petition that receives 100,000. You might remember a few years ago, a petition revealing why we don't build a Death Star.
Yeah.
So why the American government should build a Death Star was petitioned, and they responded.
Yeah.
So even if it's a ridiculous notion, at 100,000 must respond. They also did it with the deportation request of Piers Morgan. More than 100,000 people wanted Piers Morgan deported from America and shipped back to England. And it reached over 100,000 signatures, and the White House had to respond. To which essentially they said no. So, so there will be a link to the petition on the video. Just click, if you just look at the links below the video, you'll be able to see, click on that, get it signed, and pass it around. It's also available on our Tumblr page at shouttheshow.com. Over to you, Adam.
I've been perusing the world of my house far and wide recently, in search of things to discuss on the show, and it was going to be nice stuff. It was going to be like music I'm into and games I've been playing and pancakes and shit. But I've been spending a lot of time on Tumblr recently, and I've noticed that shock horror, I have a bit of a problem with human existence. I know. It wasn't expected. It's unheard of for me to have these kinds of problems. But I'll break it down for you. Now, as you all may know, or if you're new at the show, hello, you've missed a fair fucking bit. I am not exactly the most friendly human in the world. At least not with other, Homo sapiens who have evolved to wear clothes. But I get along with a close-knit group of people who are very much like-minded like myself. And on Tumblr, which I'm usually good with, I've seen an increase of people posting things that they have a problem with. Now, this is perfectly fine. Tumblr is a free website of free speech. You can post what you want, do what you want, listen to what I want on Tumblr. That's fine. My problem is this. We seem to have grown into an age now, apologies, where firstly we had litigation culture, where everything was a suable offence.
Yep.
And we seem to now have moved on to what I like to call the campaign culture, where every little problem has to be a campaign, because everything can change the world. It's a lot of big stuff, yes, but also a lot of little stuff. For example, one thing I saw, which annoyed me a bit, and you'll have to bear with me when I explain it, because when I explain it, you might think I'm being mean or like I'm not getting the right point, but just go with it. I know what I'm saying. Now, there was a post, and I'm going to paraphrase, that said, straight people getting all upset about heterophobia, people making jokes about them on websites when it is literally illegal to be gay in some countries, okay. And I agree with them on some level. I do believe that it is completely and utterly wrong that homosexuality is illegal in some countries. But, and here's the problem, when you turn around and say heterophobia and straight people getting joked at and insulted because of the but being gay is illegal and all that jazz, what you're doing is, no matter how true or not it may be, you are effectively saying you don't get to complain about your injustice because our injustice is worse, which it may be. That is the thing. I don't really get with heterophobia because I've never experienced it, and I've never seen it happen. So it could just be this thing that's cropped up recently because, again, campaign culture. Everything has to be a problem. I mean, hell, I've got a self-destructive mind. Even I don't have these many problems. But you can't do that. You can't say you don't get to bitch about people insulting and joking about you because we've had people bitching and insulting us, and it's illegal to do something to our country. That's like me going on Tumblr and saying, God damn it, these, gay people whinging about homophobia because they get insulted and joked about when in some countries gay people outnumber heterosexual people. I would never do that because it's completely not bullshit, but at the same time, when bullshit meets bullshit, it doesn't dispel the bullshit, it just creates a larger pile of bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, what my major concern is, there's a few problems I have, and there are two lines of argument. The first is the equality argument. The equality argument I have is simply that people want to be equals. That's what it's all about. Women want to be treated the same as men, or at least want to be given put on an equal playing field to men. Black people want to be on an equal level to white people. In fact, any race which isn't white wants to be on an even playing field with, basically any race wants to be on an even playing field with white. That's what it is. That's what it is. However, what drives me mad about this is you can't be equals but be superior. You can't hold a superior platform and be equal. That's not how it works. You've got to decide: are you wanting to be better off than the party you're opposing, or do you want to be equal to them? Now, for example, what I mean by this is, if your bone of contention is say you're a woman, all right, and you are sick, and there's a campaign going around, I think by Dove or Nivea Cream or something like that.
The real beauty shit?
Yeah, no. They advertise a campaign where it's a guy and a lass with Mad World played by a female artist. I don't know who she is, but she's really good. And he's getting adjectives such as boss, or nouns rather, but he's boss, he's confident in others. Whilst for her, it's bossy and manipulative and stuff like that. So it's basically like saying, well, all the positive traits in a guy are negative traits in women.
Yeah.
Now, say that's your bone of contention.
Yeah.
I agree with you. That's not fair. What's also not fair is to have it flipped. Equality isn't flipping, so it's the other side receiving the problem. Equality is when neither side are experiencing the problem.
Yeah.
So, at least in that example. So, if a woman turns around and says, men should not be allowed to say these things about women, but women should feel free to be able to say it about men, that's not equality. That is basically saying, we want the rules to be reversed. Now, you can't say you want equality, but you want the rules to be reversed without being a hypocrite and a flat-out liar. You cannot. Now, you turn that to the race situation and the gender situation, the sexuality situation as well, and you said, it's very rare that you haven't come across it yourself.
Yeah.
I know where's a great place you can find it, and we mentioned it before, Tumblr.
Yeah.
It's known as, this is a phenomenon on Tumblr at the moment, whereas when straight white people, like myself, on Tumblr try to defend the ideas of equality, and i.e. equal rights for every gender, whether it's male, female, transgender, whatever it is, every form of sexuality from heterosexuality, homosexuality, bisexuality, asexuality, pansexuality, same rights for all ethnicities.
Yeah.
No matter where you're from, what your religion is, what your gender is, what your sexual preference is, regardless of all that, you should have equal rights.
Yeah.
By that meaning, the rights made in this land should put everyone on an equal playing field.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean we should all have the same laws. It means that there should be laws that put us all on the equal playing field.
Yeah.
That's why there should be laws to protect those with handicaps, to make sure that places of work accessible for them.
Yeah.
There has to be laws that put in. Like, there's a picture that was posted on Tumblr, and we spoke about this briefly, and we'll put it up on the screen just for a moment for you. So, if you have a look at the picture that's on the screen at the moment, you'll see that it's the same location, 3 people, and the tagline is, equality doesn't mean justice. This is equality, under a picture of 3 people, tall, medium, and short, with 3 of the same boxes. And then the next picture is, this is justice, with a tall person, and the medium person has 1 box, the short person has 2 boxes, so they're at the same eye level.
Yeah.
And the comment that came with this was, found this on Facebook just now, it reminded me of how people think, we must make it equal with straight pride and men's rights. No, we need justice, not equality. And then somebody added, I saw this when it said what conservatives think is equal on the left and what liberals think is equal on the right. I didn't reblog it then because I thought it was insulting and overgeneralizing, but I will definitely reblog it now. My problem with that is, what's being displayed there is not equality.
Correct.
What's being displayed is the misunderstanding and the misuse of the word equality. Equality isn't, and I actually replied with it here, and I'll read pretty much from the quote down to the second paragraph, which is, the dictionary definition of equality is as follows: the state of being equal, especially in status, rights, or opportunities. It seems that the problem is that we're not going by the definition, rather the definition is simply being distorted to suit the ideologies of corrupt politicians.
Yeah.
To go back to the picture, my issue is that the first picture isn't equality for one simple reason. We haven't changed the situation. Equality is not defined by what people are given, but by where people stand against one another. The three people in the first picture have been given an equal amount of things, but they are not themselves equal. In the second picture, though they have not been given an equal number of boxes, they now stand as equals.
Yeah.
Now, that's just my opinion, but if you're going to look at the dictionary definition of equality, you cannot say that the first picture is equality. You can't say we gave them the same things, therefore they're equal. No, just because you give something out in equal measure doesn't mean that the people who receive them are therefore equal. Equality is defined by where you stand.
Yeah.
Your stance, what rights you have. Are you at an even playing field or an equal level to others? If you're not on an equal level, it's not equality, as the first picture shows they are not on equal levels.
Yeah.
It's by where you stand. So to say that, this is the kind of problem that you have on, things like Tumblr, that, people misunderstand certain terminologies.
I think as well, with the culture of campaigns and complaining that we have, we also have, I don't know whether you've noticed it, but I've seen a change where things become radicalized very quickly.
Of course.
I've seen arguments out in the Tumblr post out before where it tends to be because, and I've also know it tends to be because someone will post something, usually a Disney clip, and someone will go, "I love that scene," and then someone turns it into this massive debate over sexuality or gender or something like that.
Yeah.
These things. I've also noticed that there are exactly two kinds of people. Three kinds, sorry, in a campaign these days. You've got your people who actually, really don't care about the campaign. They're just doing it because, it's all the rage now to be in this certain group.
Mm-hmm.
You get the people who care, but are distorting it and warping it. Or you get the people who really care and really understand it, but who have been given a bad press by everyone else.
Yeah.
You see this with feminism a lot. I've said on the show before, I tend to dislike feminists. That's not necessarily true. I tend to dislike most radical feminists because 9 times out of 10, if I meet someone who calls himself a feminist, they will turn to me and they will say something along the lines of, men are the problem, we should be treated as equals. After all, we've done all this and we can do all this. And it's usually, they make the biological arguments, which is fair enough. They make the emotional arguments, which is fair enough. But the problem is, it very quickly goes from being we should be equal to we are better than you. And it very quickly goes from we just want to be equal and have peace to down with literally the man. That's the problem. We live in a culture now where the smallest problem can become a whirlwind in a matter of seconds upon a comment. If I see a picture about, a couple kissing, and I think it's cute, and I want to post a picture that I say, oh, it's cute and all that jazz, that's fine. There's no debate to be had in it. But people can make things debatable. I mean, it's really easy. I will explain how easy it is to radicalize something, okay? And I'll point to proof. So let's say Stephen posts a picture of, a cute couple kissing, and it's, he hasn't posted, but it's one of those share things.
Yeah.
Where it's share for and he accidentally misclicked it instead of the fuck you button.
Yeah.
Right? So it comes up on my screen on Facebook. And I put, oh, that's so cute. It's so easy to radicalize. All someone has to do is go, another example of heterosexual favoritism in the media. Boom, you've got a debate. That's all it takes, one line. And we live in a culture where people will do that because either A, they are looking for a reason.
The term is self-righteous prick.
Yeah. And he's like, I understand that my stance on this is biased because I am a white male.
In fairness, all stances are biased.
Yes, I understand that I'm a little bit biased in this because I'm a white male in a working class family in a relatively well-off country. But my problem here is this. There has been injustice in the world. And there has been a lot of, the rich getting richer while the poor get poorer, the straight people hurting the white people, the white man hurting the black man, the white man hurting the red Indian, the white man hurting the Asians, the white man hurting... You can see the problem. But we can't give in to a culture where we make that near meaningless for the little shit that niggles us. fair enough. If you are bisexual or gay, and someone calls you a expletive that I'm not even going to dignify with the use of it on the show, feel free to shout and kick off, because that is something that needs to be dealt with. But we can't let people over-radicalize these things, because if we do, we don't get taken seriously.
Yeah.
And it all boils down to pandemonium.
Here's the problem. Well, this is what it ultimately comes down to. There are two kinds of things that can happen. You can either debate a topic that has merit, or debate a topic that lacks merit. There are some things which need to be argued. For example, homosexuals, in fact, any sexuality that isn't heterosexuality, most, genders which aren't simplistically male or female,
Correct.
Mental disorders that, a lot of people still put down to either laziness or being a brat or whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of these things still have campaigns to fight.
Yeah.
We are not equal yet. And that is just a simple statement of fact. All around the world, there are still countries that don't allow gay marriages, or marriages that aren't heterosexual, basically. There are all over the world that are mental disorders that aren't recognized as true medical issues, and not just, creations by quacks to make money off clients.
Yeah.
And all around the world, there are still, even in this country, in the United States of America, supposed, enlightened countries, there are still inequalities between genders.
Yeah.
Between men and women, to put on that simplistic scale. There are still causes to be fought for and debated over and to work out. These are the things we need to work at. At the same time, there is arguments to be said that one of the big arguments I had, and I had this a few months ago, was someone I used to consider a friend. You might be aware of the black supremacy in certain countries, where white people are oppressed, and their land. I think it was in Africa as well, but white people who own farms had their farms taken away from them and given to people who are black living in the country, and they were told that they had no rights. They had no rights at all.
Yeah.
And there are people who say this is okay because, black people had to deal with it for so long. Well, first of all, let's get some things straight. First of all, in this country, during the war, we had Americans coming over to this country who had to be briefed on how to handle the culture of Great Britain, because we were accepting. We had black people in our military. We covered it, and there's been numerous records of numerous fights that happened in pubs and bars all around the UK, where American military would get involved with British people because of a fight over black people, and we would defend them.
Yeah.
Black people, of course, were persecuted across the world, but there are a lot of countries that didn't adopt that mentality. There's a lot of countries that got to that idea pretty quick. There's a lot of countries and a lot of cultures that didn't consider it an issue at the time, right? Put that aside, if you say, well, black people had it long enough, white people deserve this. Really? Because I didn't do anything, The very idea that, one of the biggest arguments that racists have as to why they're racist is that someone of a particular ethnicity, usually or a particular colour, so in this case, let's say black, did something against someone they care about, or did something to them, like, say, robbed them and murdered them. It happens, and therefore they hate all black people. And people will say that is an ignorant argument. And yet this person who would make that very argument turned around to me and said, white people deserve it because we did it to black people.
Which is bullshit. So,
if one person of one particular ethnicity or colour does one thing against one person, you can't, hold the entire race possible. But the reverse could be true. But it could be true if the rules are reversed. That's fine. It makes no sense. It comes back down to this problem I have with Tumblr, which is there are groups of people on Tumblr that despise white, straight people fighting on behalf or with, on the same side of those that aren't white, straight, whatever. Whether it's a different creed, a different colour, a different sexuality, a different gender.
Yeah.
Right? They say that we have no right to fight this fight or to complain about this or to speak up about this because we don't know what it's like. The problem I have with that is, and there's two problems. One, we'll go back to equality here. Equality is about putting everyone on the same playing level. It's equalising the playing field.
Yeah.
Right? We all need to work together to do that.
Yeah.
Here's my other problem. The people who have an issue with the way they're being treated by straight, heterosexual people.
Yeah.
Who may or may not be Republicans, you know what I mean? Mainly.
Yeah.
But, certain people who have a more conservative viewpoint in life, regardless of their political aspirations or whatever, people who are white, straight, usually males, who they have a problem with. These are the people you need to turn around.
Yeah.
These are the people that, if they hold this point of view that you disagree with, you want them to change their mind.
You don't want them to alienate.
Yeah, you want to reverse their position. You don't do that by attacking every single person that is saying that.
Yeah.
Like, as a straight white male, I believe that there should be equality for all.
Yeah.
Where does it help you coming to me and saying I have no right to make that statement because I don't know what it's like? You're quite right. I have no idea what it's like to be, at the source of ridicule for being white or for being, straight. I mean, I've had a lot of uncomfortable situations, and I have been discriminated against for being a man when I've been in classrooms which are all women, and I've been picked on, and I've been, ridiculed and whatever. But I enjoy less, better tax breaks. I get a better tax code.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, so I pay less tax overall, so I guess that's okay. That's not the point. The idea is you need people, we've got to work together here. And if you're going to attack people because they have the opinion that you're wanting people of that orientation to have, you're not going to get anywhere. It's almost as if you want to continue the fucking struggle. Now, this is a small group. This is the minority of people.
Yeah,
we're not talking about the majority of people, but they are the loudest at the moment. They go on Tumblr and they scream to straight white people, "Oh, how dare you do this?" Look, straight white male people, generally male, have had a bit of a bad history with some of our folk.
Yeah,
some of our folk, bit stupid arsehole. And the fact that we had to make laws to grant equal rights is atrocious in the first place. I argue that all that's true, but progression means moving on. That has to come from us, our side, basically admitting we made mistakes and rectifying our mistakes completely, but it also means the other side has to move with that as well.
Yeah, and it's like, I can't remember the term. When I realise what it is, I'll probably put it in the description or in an annotation of it. But my friend and me were discussing a certain thing that annoyed her on Tumblr. And she explained that there's a name given to a specific group who are these, these, it's usually lasses, but these, really cutesy, Starbucks sipping, freaking alternative pop listening to people who treat everything as a campaign, everything as a cause, and everything has to be debated and argued with, and if you don't agree, you're a racist, homophobic, whatever. And the problem is, while I disagree with a lot of opinion that, I disagree with anyone who ever says that being gay is wrong, or being a different colour of skin makes you a bad person, or, that if you don't know which gender you are, then you must be wrong. I disagree with everyone who has ever stated that opinion. But I think where we have to draw the line now is we just need to draw the line at the fact that the only thing that really matters when you come down to it, when it gets right down to it, the only thing that really matters is that we have a very limited time on this planet, this weird ball of decaying matter that is spinning ever closer to the sun before the universe eventually blows up, that
it will not matter, like, what colour of skin you have or what gender you were. What will matter is, like, the time you have, the time you share, the times that can be passed down in stories to everyone else. So, no matter who you are, or what gender you are, or who you love, just go with it. Go with it, and don't put up with the bullshit that people want to force you, from both sides, because that's the thing. I know that there are a lot of... this is the statement that everyone makes when they're called out for being racist or homophobic or whatever, but the I have a lot of friends thing. But I have a lot of friends who I can attest to, who are homosexual or bisexual, and I've discussed this with them, and I've been like, what do you guys think? Like, am I being unreasonable here? And they go, no, it pisses off us too, it gives us a bad name.
Ultimately, this is what it boils down to. To summarise this, I would say arguably like 20-odd minute rant. To summarise it, here's the thing. There are causes to be fought for, and there are causes which aren't causes, but rather, small matters which are blown up. Equal rights for all is a cause. The fact that, there's, the fact that in a movie, a straight couple got together and, whatever, is not a cause. Just like it shouldn't be that if a lesbian couple get together or a bisexual couple get together in a movie, it shouldn't mean anything. These are not causes. These are things which should just be accepted as normal life. If you're unhappy that there is a non-straight couple in a movie or getting married, it's not your fucking business. Stay the fuck out of it. Equal rights is something to fight for. Your opinion isn't necessarily something to make a crusade over. If you're going to share an opinion, by all means share an opinion, but don't make a crusade out of something that doesn't necessarily need to be fought over. Now, if you want to argue for equal rights, if you want to argue for equality, by all means go ahead and do that. But if you're pissed off because they've opened up another Chinese shop near you and by God you haven't had a decent British restaurant at any time soon, that's not a cause for concern. There are also things where there are causes to be fought for, but there are right ways and wrong ways to fight them. Do not alienate those that support your cause, because any support you get, provided that they're not themselves being bigoted and whatever, and simply using your cause as a political campaign for themselves. For example, if you are assuming that, white straight males cannot, campaign on your behalf or campaign with you for equal rights for, whatever gender, sexual preference, ethnicity, colour of your skin, creeds, whatever, that's a mistake.
Yeah.
If people want equal rights, it doesn't matter where they're from. That is the fucking point. The minute you start alienating people for agreeing with you, it's ridiculous. Equality cannot be reached by us fighting over who gets to believe in equality. Yes, we've had some issues in the past, big fucking issues. And we've required people like Martin Luther King Jr. to stand, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to stand up and say, damn it isn't fucking right what's going on right now.
Yeah.
And it is a shame that there have had to have been laws in various constitutions around the world, various laws, Human Rights Act, that, prevent, because they shouldn't have been there in the first place. They should have been accepted as fact that we don't treat people badly. Yeah. It should have been accepted as fact that, all genders and all colours and all races are the same in value. And the fact that we've had to make laws to remind us of that is a shame. However, it is still something that we're all working together on, and we can't do that by bitching over who gets to be more right about it.
Yeah.
If you've got two people, one is, I don't care, they could be of any colour, any gender, any sexuality. If they both say everyone should have equal rights, that should be the only thing that matters. It shouldn't matter who is saying it.
Yeah.
And that is the problem. That's the problem with over-radicalisation, because when you basically rally the troops and radicalize, as you were saying, any cause, the very nature of rallying behind a cause becomes defunct, null and void.
Yeah.
When all of a sudden, arguing and campaigning over a small scene from a movie or where you've got a bromance going and all of a sudden you've got people shipping them and you take massive offence to this. Me, I'm not a fan of shipping. I've never liked the idea of shipping.
I dislike shipping not because I believe that it's wrong to, ship characters, but mainly because it pisses me off story-wise. Like, the John Locke ship. I understand why it exists.
Well, I'm not trying to get too off point, but yeah, I mean, if for me it's the same. It's like, if you've got a lot of people, like for me it's Supernatural.
Dean and
Cass. I can't physically understand why people ship because they're not romantically interested in each other. But people keep trying to ship them. For me, I look at that as that would be like someone trying to ship me with someone that isn't my fiance. I feel kind of insulted by that.
It's like trying to ship me with a white Latin Colby.
Yeah, you can't, if you have two characters which aren't that way, you know what I mean? If they're not written for each other. Just like the same, like, it's, what you call it? I think it's Maggie Sawyer in DC. She's, and I can't remember the name of her girlfriend, but I wouldn't ship her with Dan Turpin, who is her, like, assistant in the police corps. I just wouldn't, because even though they're really close to all the jazz, I just wouldn't, because that's not how their characters work.
Yeah.
That's why I don't get shipping. I don't get why you would try to put people together when it's so against their character to do so.
Mm.
But I'm not going to... I mean, I'll ask, why do people like shipping? And I'll ask the question. But I would start petitions and create a fucking huge fuss over the idea of, oh, this is a... Rah!
Yeah.
Who gives a shit if people want, Dean and Cass to... fall in love. Who gives a shit if people want, Sherlock and John Watson to be an item? I don't care. I don't want it in my story because I don't think it makes sense, but if a writer's turned up and said, hey, let's do it, then whatever. Yeah. It's not a cause for concern. It doesn't change the balance of power in the world. It doesn't affect equality around the world. It doesn't matter. What matters is what's happening in the American Congress, what happens in the British law, what's happening in Canada, in China, Japan, and Turkey, and all the fucking countries in the world. What is happening with equal rights? Who gives a shit what's happening in a movie or a television show? Fight for the things which need to be fought for.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree.
Now,
I agree with my own self.
Now, speaking about things which people should probably not be making into a cause, but have, Justin Bieber.
Oh, fuck.
Now, Justin Bieber has been a naughty boy. And Justin Bieber was charged with many different things.
On the grounds of being a dick, he's a third-degree dick, isn't he?
Now, you might have learned that recently he was charged with DUI. Now, the courts have dropped that, and they're not charging with it, but they are continuing with a charge of... Why
did they drop the charge of DUI?
Because he's Justin Bieber. Pretty much.
Good. So, despite all the evidence of the fact that he could have killed someone.
He's still being charged with resisting arrest for that violence. However, he's not scot-free because, meanwhile, in Canada, he's to be charged with criminal assault.
Yay!
And this was basically, the charges come from an incident last December when Bieber and his entourage were taking a limousine in Toronto. The group allegedly got into an altercation with the driver. One of the alleged crew members is being investigated for the assault, and TMZ sources say that Bieber will be booked for assault, given a citation released on his own recognizance. And this is being reported many different areas. On January 23rd, after his January 23rd arrest, he and his lawyer, following that, he and his lawyers put in a plea of not guilty in Miami Beach, Florida. So basically, he's been a naughty boy, and as such, and you got to remember, this is the same guy that was charged for graffitiing on a historical landmark.
Allegedly fucking prostitute.
Agitated. He walked out of a brothel, so what he did in there, we don't know, but we can make a good guess. But factually and legally, it should be pointed out, we don't know what he did in there. He's attacked people when he was in the UK. We know for a fact that he got into an altercation
with a cockney.
Yeah. And so the people of the world had decided that they had had enough, and they created a petition to deport Justin Bieber, which reads as follows. We, the people of the United States, feel that we are being wrongly represented in the world of pop culture. We would like to see the dangerous, reckless, destructive, and drug-abusing Justin Bieber deported and his green card revoked. He is not only threatening the safety of our people, but he's also a terrible influence on our nation's youth. We, the people, would like to remove Justin Bieber from our society. Now, here's the thing. As I mentioned before in the more serious petition about net neutrality, once a petition reaches 100,000 signatures, and it doesn't have to be from US citizens, it could be from around the world. It just has to reach 100,000 citizens. The White House must review it, and they must respond to it.
Yeah.
The signature, if I were to visit it now, so I'm just opening up now, it currently has roughly 197,871 signatures.
200,000 people almost.
Yeah, so basically it has almost double. And by the way, the deadline for this petition is February 22nd, 2014. So, and this was created on January 23rd. I like to point out, so in 7 days, it has reached almost double the necessary amount of signatures to be put forth to the White House for response. In less than 7 days, it reached the total it required.
To be fair, the people who are making this petition, they have a point. Like,
now,
a legit point.
Now, here's the thing. This is an important point to note here. Justin Bieber is not in the US on a green card, which signals legal permanent residency, but rather on a special visa given to actors, musicians, and academics, and other high-profile individuals to the government that the government deems to be important visitors. Now, experts have debated whether Mr. Bieber's legal troubles, he was charged last week with drunken driving in the drag race in Florida, rise to the level where his visa would be revoked. It would be unusual but not impossible to cancel his visa and ask him to leave the country if he were to be found guilty of the charges against him. Now, another thing that's going on, there is a counter-petition going on at the moment to save Justin Bieber. And that reads as follows. The whole idea of Justin Drew Bieber being deported is completely unfair. He doesn't deserve this. With your help, we can stop it. He's human. He's not perfect. The media sees the bad side of him. Please, he saves so many lives, including mine. A lifesaver shouldn't deserve this. This was created on January 25th, 2014. The deadline is February 24th, which is 2 days after the other one. It has received 3,172 signatures.
I would like to quickly just, if any listeners are a fan of Justin Bieber, or know anyone who's a fan of Justin Bieber, please pause this very briefly. Get yourself a drink. And if your friends bring them into the room. Have you done that? Good, right. The media captures the bad side of Justin Bieber. Mainly because that's his only side.
Yeah.
Let's look at what this guy has done in the past year or so, right? That is a little bit off-putting behaviour-wise. Firstly, he wrote in the Anne Frank house in the book, I hope she would have been a believer. Secondly, when he went to go see sick kids, he stayed for 5 minutes, refused to actually spend any time with them, and then left. When he came to London, he got into a fight with a photographer. When the photographer just kind of walked into him, Bieber pushed him away and told him he would, and I quote, fucking have him. He then got into 3 other fights. Let's not forget the stuff he did at Disneyland, wasn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, he kicked everyone out of a restaurant so he could use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he basically ruined a lot of families' trips. He also then had a drug-addled drunken drag race, which could have killed people. He blocked off streets, he vandalised a house. He went to Brazil and Italy and all these places and graffitied. He left a brothel. There is shady footage, I'll grant you, of a prostitute with him. And let's not also forget the fact that he is a dick to his fans, cancelling shows last minute, turning up late, basically being a bad
Don't forget, the number one thing was he did a Rolling Stone interview, and he made what's considered to be probably the most unforgivable statement he ever made when he voiced his opinion on rape.
Yeah, rape happens.
Well, what he actually said was, I think that's really sad, but everything happens for a reason.
Billy Joel Armstrong, as I've said on the show before, his quote on rape was, ladies, if the guy ever touches you in a way you don't like, feel free to turn around and punch him right in the fucking face.
Yeah. So basically, he said that rape happens for a reason.
Do you know what the funny thing is? People get a lot of stick these days for liking Green Day and My Chem because, you know, if you're in that kind of clique where you like that music, it's cool. If you're not, you're kind of seen as a bit, you know, weird, a bit, I hate using the word, but, you know, to drop the F-bomb, a bit faggy and all that jazz. And here's the thing, you might think that, and the pop people, like the Bieber fans, might be like, you know, oh, you're just jealous of Justin Bieber, go fucking kill yourself. But My Chem and Green Day, I'll tell you what Billy Joel Armstrong said about rape. JewWario was never asked about rape as far as I'm aware, but he was asked about sexual favours for backstage passes at gigs. To which he got up on stage and said, ladies, if a guy in a shady 2-bit band asks you to lift up your shirt for backstage passes, I want you to spit right in his fucking face. Mm-hmm. You know, it's that kind of shit. You may want to sit there and go, oh my god, you're just jealous of his talent and go fucking kill yourself. But at the end of the day, you are just rabid idiots following a bad role model who's got you brainwashed, whereas the rest of us can see through that and see what really matters. He's like, I don't even understand. He doesn't make good music. He is a terrible role model to every person who ever encounters him. And on more than one occasion, he has been found in the vicinity or in the possession of drugs, yet he's not been charged with any drug cops. And also, let us not forget, he was driving under the influence. Fuck him in his dick.
I mean, ultimately, the problem I have, it comes down to this, right? You can say I don't care if you're just a Bieber fan. I don't care. If you like his music, you like his fucking music. You know? Now, other people seem to have a messianic complex on his behalf, where they put him on this pedestal. Now, I like some of My Chemical Romance stuff. I like some Green Day stuff. I like some Nightwish stuff. I like some fucking, Nickelback stuff. I like Papa Roach.
I like some old Step stuff, for fuck's sake.
The problem is, when it comes down to it, I don't have a problem with him and his music. When it comes to music, I couldn't give a shit. If I don't like it, I don't listen to it. If someone forces me to listen to it, you're going to hear some aggro. You know? But my problem with Justin Bieber is him as a human being and the fact that he doesn't act like one. What he acts like is a complete unfucking forgivable, incompetent, ridiculously childish, bratish, arrogant cunt. The fact that he treats people like crap, except for certain people, you know, he treats some people like royalty, and then there's other people who simply just hang on to that. Some people said in that petition, they said the media only focus on the good on the bad side. Well, but many believers only focus on the good side, and anytime he fucks up, he says, "Oh well, nobody's perfect." Well, by that fucking logic, George W. Bush, he's not perfect. Tony Blair, he's not perfect. They only got us into an illegal war. Not only that, but Donald Trump, he's not perfect. He's just clearly a fucking moron that, demands to see the President of the United States birth certificate. And while we're on the fucking subject, David Cameron, he's not perfect. Neither is Douglas Smith. They just want to make the poor poorer for the sake of making the richer richer.
Here's the thing. If he would killed someone when he was drunk driving, or in the influence, whatever, drugs, I can't remember. If he killed someone, you wouldn't hear as many people go, well, no one's perfect. You'd hear them sit there and go, we don't know how to respond.
Honestly, no. I think that's the one thing I disagree with you. I bet believers would be saying he's not perfect. Because they've forgiven everything else they've done so far. He's assaulted people. He's defaced national landmarks. He's, literally spat at fans' faces. He's DUI driving. He's DUI, so what's to stop him? If he kills somebody by driving, you're telling me that the believers wouldn't forgive? Because honestly, they've forgiven everything else. Why would they stop it? In
fact, they haven't even just forgiven him. They put the blame on the other party.
It's ridiculous. It's like, it's Justin Bieber. It's not his fault. Yeah, it is. Well, he's not perfect. Well, guess what happens to people who aren't perfect because they end up committing crimes? They usually end up serving for it, whether it's a prison sentence, a community service, a fine, or in some cases, deportation. At the end of the day, here we are, like, two logical human beings going, well, here's a hypothetical. It's a fantastic test. Go to a believer and say, in a hypothetical scenario, right, a young man, say 80 whatever, right, has taken drugs or has been drinking. He goes driving and acts, and he gets caught by the police. Okay, he was driving recklessly, could have easily killed somebody. Now the minimum sentencing should be this. The maximum sentencing is out. What would you do? And they would probably say, oh well, somewhere near the minimum sentencing or punishment. Okay, this person's Justin Bieber. Oh well, nobody's perfect. That would be the response. Justin Bieber has a get-out clause because he's Justin Bieber. Yet, honest to God, I'm willing to bet that to these believers, if, for example, someone on the lines of Slash, formerly from Guns N' Roses, Velvet Revolver, or perhaps who's Josh Groban, or Taylor. So if somebody had done that, they would easily be like, well, Justin would never do that. These people need to be shown the error of their ways. They need to be punished.
Do you know what? Believers are a bit like Puritans.
I would say they're more like Westboro Baptist Church and their loving devotion. They're not racist and they're not white supremacist. They're not that, but they are such a cult that no matter what happens, they cannot see why the principles that they have are wrong. They cannot see why Justin Bieber is such a bad influence. And it's like, well, if you can't see that, how are you going to grow up to be? And look at and I challenge any believer to argue this point, because believers, either the vast majority or as a community, have condoned self-harm for the sake of an idol, have put self-worth of life, i.e. valued their lives solely upon a fucking immature little shithead who got lucky enough to have a music career with autotune, and apparently that means Justin Bieber is responsible for their continued survival in life. They have also condoned the attacking, the humiliation, the assault, and death wishes on others that may hold issues with Justin Bieber. They have condoned his idea that rape happens for a reason. They have condoned his actions in other countries, such as defacing national property and landmarks. They have supported his notion that it's okay to just dump animals in other countries without a bio leave. They have supported his idea that it's okay to spend time in the fucking brothels, whilst claiming virtue and all jazz. They have supported ideas, some of the stuff he said, spitting on fans. And the only time that they will be negative towards Justin Bieber is simply by stating he's not perfect. You know what? Neither's anybody else. Not everybody goes around being the shithead that Justin Bieber is. In fact, it would not surprise me if years from now that the term Justin Bieber becomes a legal word meaning to commit particular crimes based upon young fame.
I believe, right? Here's what I suggest. Let's come together and throw wet sponges at Justin Bieber and be truly equal for one day, where we are all in favour of throwing shit at Justin Bieber.
This is what I want to happen.
Careless whispers.
I want Justin Bieber to go into a serious rehabilitation program and to get a fucking education.
I want them to lock him in a cell with a guy called Big Terry and see if rape happens for a reason.
I honestly, it's just at this point.
Joking, by the way. I'm joking.
Here's the thing. I don't really wish much on Justin Bieber. I don't give a shit that he's alive. I really don't. I don't want him to suddenly die. I don't want him to spend the rest of his life in prison. I don't want him to be gunned down or whatever. I just want the kid to grow up and be a fucking contributing member of fucking society without doing it simply for the sake of publicity. There is not a single person with a rational brain in this country or any other that would believe for a second that if Justin Bieber did it to a charity, it's because of the kindness out of his heart. It'd be for public image.
Yeah.
Because of everything else he's done. He clearly doesn't care about human life. And the only time he says anything is to his fans. The true measure of a man isn't about how he treats his friends, but how he treats his enemies. Now, the fact is, the fact that he wants to be a massive git wizard is his own prerogative. But he does not get any respect from me or anyone with a reasonable mindset until he starts behaving like a fucking human being and an adult. So, yes, it'll be interesting to see exactly how the White House respond to this, because they do have the power to do that, and it wouldn't be... And you've got to remember, Justin Bieber's announced his retirement already. He announced it via Twitter on Christmas, which is a fantastic Christmas present, I reckon. And he hasn't detracted from that statement at all since then, although there were reports at the time that he was joking, but there hasn't been anything said since then. I mean, at the end of the day, America is well within the right, so the American government is well within the right to get rid of him. I mean, he announced his retirement, and whether that remains a joke or not, he's clearly not really contributing much to the economy, and that's far richer people living in America than him.
And plus
right
the
now.
money he brings in, he's spending either on hookers or drugs.
Yeah. And the very fact is, removing his presence in the United States would really only hurt Justin Bieber. It wouldn't hurt America. Now, of course, the one problem with these petitions is that there's no set guideline of how long it would take for the White House to respond. They can respond whenever they want. Weeks, months, whatever. And the White House could always save face by saying, well, the wording of the petition is to revoke his green card. Justin Bieber doesn't have a green card, therefore it's a non-issue.
Yeah.
It depends on how picky they want to be, but at the same time, there's nothing stopping the people of the world are creating a new petition with the correct wording to counter this. But at the same time, you've got to wonder, can the Beliebers get the 100,000 signatures by February 24th on the do not deport Justin Bieber petition? Because if they do, and the White House respond by saying we will not deport him, then that will already be their answer. So by the time the second petition comes out to deport Justin Bieber, they could turn around and say, unfortunately, we've already made a decision on this matter.
Here's the thing as well, it's like, at the end of the day, who's going to take Justin Bieber if America kicks him the fuck out?
Canada. That's where he lives. He's Canadian, remember?
Yeah, but I don't even think Canada won him at this stage.
Well, they'll have no choice. He's a citizen, and he hasn't... I mean, Canada aren't going to deport him for assault. They might put him in prison or whatever, but they're not going to deport him.
I imagine a Canadian prison would feel weird.
But anyway, that's enough of that nonsense.
Bubble.
Doable.
If they do deport him, what's the worst going to happen? People are going to boycott America.
Yeah. I don't think they really can, to be honest with you.
No, because America is the world, apparently.
Now, some of the stuff we've got coming up in Season 3, obviously, in either a week or 2 weeks' time or something like that, we're going to have the hashtag Shout Awards.
Woo!
Now, they are going to be somewhat different this year. Obviously, last year was the inaugural ones, and we were just kind of trying to fish out, and at the time, we kind of went with some kind of jokey awards.
Mainly involving boobs and bottoms.
Yes, I was trying to be a bit more subtle than that, thank you.
Well, Geek's not here, so I have to be the boobs and bottoms.
Basically, we were trying to have a laugh and all that, but we want to take it a little bit more seriously this year. We're still having some fun awards, so we're trying to discuss what awards we want to have. There'll definitely be things like Best Film of 2013 and like Best Actor, but we're going to come up with some awards specifically for us and our interests. And of course, if you wonder where Geek King is a regular kind of special guest. He'll be on as and when he can be. So he's not a permanent member of the show like me and Adam are. We are full-timers.
Yeah.
Geek will be on as and when he can do. So it's basically a special treat when he can be on. So pretty much the last thing we want to cover, and it's kind of a shame that this show returns at the time that such tragedy has occurred. But it wasn't long ago that on January 23rd, 2014, Justin Carmical, better known to the world as JewWario, committed suicide at the age of 42. He took his own life, and he was his wife was with him at the time, which could only be a traumatic situation for her, and obviously our sincere condolences and thoughts go with the family of JewWario. There have been many video tributes made in honor of JewWario, and we would like to share Doug Walker's tribute at the end of this video. There will of course be a link, so you can go check out the video at its original source, rather than watching it as part of this video if you prefer. The reason I'll share that was because we think it highlights JewWario's moments the best, and really, kind of gives you a good glimpse of what kind of a talented and lighthearted individual he was. And I would strongly urge you to go check out his own works, and we will be leaving links in the description where you can check out his works, his videos, his archive, stuff like that. But we want to end the show by essentially appealing to you guys. There is a GoFundMe campaign for the family of JewWario. Essentially, originally, Katie, and I want to say it's Katie Doon, or Katie June or Doon, is essentially accepted as JewWario's #1 fan, essentially president of the fan club. And the original goal was to raise $850 to send her to the funeral of JewWario. When it reached its target, Katie insisted that any money raised go to the family of JewWario to help pay for funeral costs and the like, which is obviously amazingly kind of her to do. Since then, it has raised $13,835. This has been raised by 670 people in just 4 days. And obviously that is an amazing figure, but with funeral costs averaging between $8,000 to $10,000, plus, probate courts and the like, we'd like to see as much money as possible. Now, at Hashtag Show, we have no official affiliation with JewWario, that guy with the glasses, anything like that. We're not connected at all. I'm just a fan. I had a couple of conversations with him via Twitter. He likes some funny posters I made about him. He thanked me for some kind words I said about him when I was giving my opinion about how awesome a reviewer he was.
Yeah.
So I've had a couple of conversations, but we're not officially, we just want to see the right thing done by this guy who contributed so much to so many people. So in the description of this video, or if you watch it on Tumblr or YouTube, in the accompanying dialogue with this video, you'll find links to the donate page. It'll be the very first link you see. We're prioritizing this link above the Net Neutrality one, even if it's $1. You know what I mean? And for UK listeners, when you think about it, $1 is, I'm just getting it here, I think it's like 60 odd pence. It's 61 pence. You know what I mean? Even if it's $1, if you can spare it, send it their way, because every bit counts, And JewWario was a guy that would help anyone at any time. So let's repay the favor and show how much we respect him by helping out the people he loved the most, his wife and his rest of his family. So on that note, it'll be goodbye from Adam and me. So it's goodbye from Thelonewalker1.
Bye-bye.
It's goodbye from me. And next week, there'll be more open discussions, more hilarity, more fun. But for today, let's end this week with Doug Walker's tribute to Justin JewWario Carmical. This is Hashtag Shout Season 3, Episode 1. Until next time, good night.
On January 23, 2014, former Channel Awesome producer Justin Carmical committed suicide. This is something that has raised a lot of confusion and a lot of questions, because anyone who knew Justin knew this didn't seem in character with him. It simply didn't make sense to us, because the Justin that we came across and we remembered was always positive. He was always upbeat. He was always talkative. Even if you were in a bad mood or you were in an awkward situation or something wasn't comfortable, he would always start talking. He would always try to cheer you up and try to make you feel better. And I think the reason that Justin is really something special is because despite knowing what we know now, we will still remember him as this upbeat, cheerful, positive, wonderful human being. And that's because he has shared so much of that positivity with us. He has shared so much goodness with us. So this is a collection of certainly not all, but many times that he has gone out of his way to make us feel better, to entertain, to make us laugh, and just share so much with us. So to you, Justin, just thank you so much for sharing so much with us.
Don't pirates! I'm looking at you, Sean.
Prize! Tom's laughing. Who's laughing? That was him. Oh, you're laughing. My God, look at that. It's him. I had it that time. You either leave here bloodied or with my blood on your sword. Ha ha! Ha ha! Ha ha! Ha! Oh! Ha! Dodge! Parry! Turn! Ha! Spin! Ha! Thrust! Ha ha! Ha ha! Thrust! Do the sad Indian cry. Turn towards me. Now one tear.
Hey, I'm princess in another castle. 7 sloppy pints, he said.
My God, the greatest combination of Christmas icons is dead!
Okay there, Justin?
I've never had balls like this taste like in my mouth. What? I was just talking about how flavorful these balls are. No, I'm just kidding. Really, they're so good.
Me and you and I think to myself.
All right, Nerdinator, eat thermal detonator. Shit!
Hey, Jonathan. Hi. I can't believe that you are on MSNBC. That is so
Freaking
cool.
awesome.
And I hope you get a lot of business from it. And, you know, because you're just a wonderful person. You're a good friend of ours. And we just wanted to say congratulations.
What a wonderful world.
Hej tomte vi slår i glassen och låtsas lustiga vara. En liten tid vill leda här med mycken möda och stort besvär.
You all mean the world to me, and I couldn't ask for better fans and family and friends than you guys. I'm very blessed and very lucky to have people like you from the bottom of my heart. And I mean this quite literally and seriously and with all, you know, honesty. Thank you. Thank you very much for 5 years, for enjoying what I do.
You know what? I want you all to look at me. I want you all to look at me. Because what I'm about to say is important. I've been thinking about this a lot lately. And I want you all to know this. You're not stupid. Okay? You're not stupid. Don't ever tell yourself that you are. You're important. What you have in your head may not mean a lot to a lot of people, but it's what makes you special. You are important. You mean something. And you're going to go out there and and you're going to do some wonderful things. But first and foremost, you're not stupid. You're not an idiot. Don't ever tell yourself that you are. And if nobody else ever tells you this, I will tell you this. I care about you.